Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Brazil. It is now November. We have our grass field was ready, so we went ahead and mowed that and windrowed it up. And we've also completed the road between here and town. And now this morning we're going to need to get a seeder and get some seeds into these two new fields that we created. So let's head into town and we will do just that. I'll show you guys the new road that we created. I tried to preserve as many trees as possible, but I did have to get rid of a couple in order to make this road. 2 or 3, I think. Wasn't many. I'm preserving the palm trees at all costs. That makes this map very different. Look, there's one now. Cool. So we have a nice drive into town now. There's our silage bales. Gonna make some more of those this afternoon. Hopefully those will be ready by January. We'll get a nice little bit of money coming in. Alright, so we have some choices here. And I know that's a dangerous thing with me because I'm very insensitive. So if this takes too long, I'll just cut to the end and say, hey, here's what I picked. But for now, let's take a look. Alright, we have all the base game seeders. They're very expensive. We're obviously going to have to do some sort of mod in order to be able to put seeds in the ground because everything is just crazy expensive. This is my first option. This is the Gill AirSim 6040. It is 6 meters wide, which I think we really have to go at least 6 meters wide or we're going to be spinning our wheels in that big field. It doesn't do fertilizer. It requires 185 horsepower. So, it's a good option. $17,000 is a good price. Alright, our next option is the John Deere 8350, which everybody has seen before. It's a great seeder, but it's a trailer. And it's a pain to turn around. It's a lot faster to turn around if you've got something on a 3-point connection. So that's the con here. It's 5.2 meters as opposed to 6, so it's a little smaller, but it does do fertilizer as well, so we would save some time there. Let's see, I think there's some more options in here. This is an option. It is the SPU6M from a Russian company that I cannot pronounce the name of. Also 6 meters. I don't think it does fertilizer. No, it does not do fertilizer. So, I don't know that that's any better option than the Gill. And then I think that's it for our options. So it's really got to be between this and this, and I have to decide whether this is worth $12,000 more than this, or $11,000. Honestly, I think it is. I think we're going to have to end up spending more money because we're going to need a fertilizer spreader, which we would need anyway because we're going to have to do a second application on everything. So, yeah, I think it is the Gill AirSim for us. I know it costs more money, but I think in the long run we're going to be happier with it. So we're just going to buy that. We're going to need some seeds. I'm going to buy 2 big bags of seeds. I think that'll fill it up. And then we're obviously also going to need a fertilizer spreader. There are some options here too. But I think having looked at all of these options, there's that, and that's 36 meters as opposed to 42. It only holds 1,300 liters. So we would be refilling it, but boy, $3,000. So is it worth an extra, I guess, 4,300 to get, to pay no attention to this. This is a 42 meter spread. I don't think it is. I think we're going to, yeah, I think this kind of makes up for a little bit for the, for spending extra on the cedar. So, yeah, we're going to go with this. Never used it before, but it's all good. Something new. And we're going to need also a pallet of fertilizer. Now, I'm using the farm supply pack. I know there's probably some controversy there, but you know, if the store down the street decided to cut the price of fertilizer and everybody else was selling it for 3 times the price, they would sell all of their fertilizer. So I'm going to buy this. Okay, so I think we are now ready to go. Let's go put some seeds in the ground first, and then we'll come back and we'll get our fertilizer spreader. I really appreciate autosave, but boy, it comes at the worst times and it really makes your system just kind of hang for a couple seconds. All right, hopefully this will be enough seeds for us to do both fields. We'll see. It's got a little weight to it. It's kind of pushing me around a little. It doesn't look like much. I'm going to go do the small field first. Or smaller field, I should say. Not necessarily small. And I think what we're going to do is the smaller field is going to be sorghum. It grows fast. And apparently down here, crops like sorghum and soybeans and canola actually produce straw. I don't know if it's a new strain of those plants that is being grown exclusively in Brazil, but all of a sudden now you get straw from soybeans and canola. What a world. So I think we're going to plant sorghum here, and we will get straw from our sorghum. So we'll have to figure out what to do with that. I guess we'll just bale it and sell it. So let's... There we go. And here we go. Our first seeds. Apparently parts of this property are just a field. Because as you can see, I get to certain pieces of grass where I'm planting directly into that grass. And the grass is going away, so it's not field grass. Oh, I think my grass here may go away. Yeah, oh well. We're going to lose a little grass here. Tractor's doing great. See how that grass goes away when I plant into it? I really don't want it to do that. So I may have to take my landscaping tool and draw a little border around the entire field so that I don't make it bigger every time I seed it. Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making parts of this actually bigger than I want it to be. This field is big enough. We don't need more of it. See, this is going to be a field if I... Well, maybe I can straighten this edge up a little bit. But that's enough. This field doesn't need to be bigger. And I'm all for profit, but there's only so much we can work. And I'm going to do one more headland. And then I'll do some up downs. Yeah, for 17 grand, it's really hard to beat this cedar. You see, with the 3-point connection, it's so much easier to turn around. It's just faster. It's not necessarily easier. It's just faster. You don't have to turn around and then back up to straighten everything up, and it's just faster. And I prefer it. So, and that's really the bottom line in Farming Simulator. Whatever you prefer is what you should do. I think 6 meters is going to be fine for these fields. We'll see when we get to the other one, but for this one, certainly 6 meters is working great. I'll come back and pick this up in a bit. Definitely wouldn't want any smaller than 6 meters. Just wouldn't be practical. There's just too much land here. And while small fields will will sustain you and keep you going, you don't make a lot of profit from small fields. You don't make money that you can put aside or use to expand or use to pay the taxes, for instance. You see, that's a field in between there. You don't really, it's not a numbered field, but it's a field, and that can be problematic when you're planting and seeding. Don't want to have to constantly worry about putting seeds into that area. That needs to be a divider that is not part of the field. And while we don't have a lot of money to hire workers right now, we want to keep that in mind for later on, because there's going to be a lot of fields here, and I think at some point we're going to need to hire some workers to help us out. So we want our fields to be worker friendly. And if the workers don't have a clear division between fields, and you're not watching them carefully, they will plant everything you own in whatever they happen to be seeding at the time. And you will lose crops because they decide to plant grass into your almost ripe canola field. Don't ask me how I know that. Well, this is going pretty quickly. I'm pleased. And I think a 36-meter width on the fertilizer spreader is going to be fine. I really love the 42-meter width, and now pretty much every fertilizer spreader has a 42-meter width. But for that price, it's hard to argue. And that's going to add probably one pass to each field. So it'll be okay. We are getting the job done. And look at the seed usage too. We're doing great. I think we're going to plant both of these fields with less than 2,000 liters of seeds. That's great. And I think for this year, this is all the fields we're going to create for a little bit. I think we've got as much here as we can take care of at the moment. Especially considering that we're planting 2 crops that we don't have a harvester for. So we're going to need to make enough money to get a harvester pretty soon. There are some great options in the store though, in all price ranges, so that's good to see. Because a lot of times the stores will just have, sorry, our cheapest one is, $125,000 with a header. And there's no way we can do that. My hope is that the silage will provide us with enough money to buy a harvester and a header. And pretty much whatever we make from that, that is our budget. So, you know, I can't even start to look at harvesters until we sell the silage, and then we'll be able to tell how much money we have to spend and whether we'll be sitting on the inside of a cab or on the outside of a harvester. That's pretty much the division. This pass, and then we'll go clean up those little areas on the other side of the field. You have to be careful until I get my dividers in, because I don't want to plant into that area. Or seed into that area, as the case may be. I'm trying to be careful because I know some people get really pedantic about those sorts of things. Nice. All right, let's go get these little areas over here. But seeding that field was not bad at all as far as time goes. That did not take long at all. So yeah, I think we made the right choice. You can seriously add a bunch of time to your seeding just by having to turn around a trailer. And I know they're cheap and they work great. You know, $5,000 for a direct drill, of course, that's a great deal. But as with anything that has a lower price, you kind of have to look twice at it and go, okay, well, where is the downfall of this product? Because most of the time, things that are very inexpensive are inexpensive because they lack features or they're poorly made, or, you know, there's a reason for it. Okay, so we're going to plant this field in soybeans. Again, the miracle of Brazil, we're going to get straw from our soybeans, which is great. And it's a really good cash crop. We'll get some money come summer. So anything we planted, if we planted a grain crop, it's not going to come in until after its best price, and we need money now. So this will be ripe by the time it's ready to sell. So soybeans it is. So we got both fields seeded, and we used less than 1,000 liters of seeds. That's pretty darn good. You may have noticed about halfway through, we hired a worker. You know, a couple of kids came by, a brother and sister, said they were trying to earn some money to go to band camp. I didn't even know that was a thing in Brazil, but apparently it is. So, you know, I felt bad, and I always like to support the arts, so I let them work a little while. They did all right. They, not the best workers I ever had, but, I feel good about helping them out, and, I got a little rest. So, but we got it all seeded, and it didn't cost too much. So I'm going to get this seeder back to the yard and pick up the fertilizer spreader and fill that up. I'll see you guys when it's time to fertilize. So I've grown accustomed to the 42 meter spread. We'll see if the 36, I think, meters is enough. So let's take a look. Yeah, that's still a big spread. I think we're going to be fine. Speaking of being fine, something just occurred to me. I am fertilizing what was formerly a grass field. See how there's just little splotches here and there? I think that's because we're already 100% fertilized. Yep, 100% fertilized. And I think the other one is going to be the same way. Oh well, I don't consider that to be a waste. And we're going to need a fertilizer spreader. And tomorrow, it's all going to need to be fertilized. So, just because it's 100%. So this first time, it will not need to be fertilized. And since we plowed it, we shouldn't have any weeds either. So this first growth will be easier for us. Not quite as much maintenance to do. Okay, well, that leaves us time then to bale this hay. Not hay, it's grass. And we're going to bale it, and we're going to wrap it. I'm still very surprised by this baler. I did not expect this to work as well as it does. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. There we go. For a long time I had gone to the fermentation silos to make silage as opposed to wrapping bales. It's nice to get back to wrapping bales. And I think we're going to call this an episode. We got quite a bit done today. And it's going to be getting dark soon, so I'm going to get these wrapped and stacked just as fast as I possibly can. And once again, I'm driving like I'm drunk. I'm not. I could be if you think that would improve my subscribership. If you enjoyed this video, I would hope you would consider subscribing or giving it a thumbs up. That really helps the channel. If you didn't like this video, then why don't you post a comment and tell me why. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.